Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. I haven't posted for a couple weeks because I had some health issues. Nothing too major, but the type of health issues that come along with my disability. So that's why I haven't posted for a while. Today I want to talk about opinions within the disabled community. This may seem like a topic that isn't needed, but it has been my experience that sometimes people treat one person with a disability as a spokesperson for all people with disability. I think that what happens is frequently people are exposed to a diverse amount of people with disabilities. I know from my experience that for a lot of my friends, I'm the only person with a disability they know. So they tend to treat my opinions like they're the gold standards. But I remind them that they're not. I have even fallen into this line of thinking, and I thought I was an expert on disabilities just because I have a disability. I came to realize that I'm no expert. I'm here to tell you that just because I have a disability doesn't mean I'm an expert. Not even close. I'm just one person who is going by her experience. Some stuff I may say about disabilities might be right. Some stuff I say about disabilities is inevitably wrong. I think I have a bit more experience than most. I went to a college full of students with disabilities, and I have been around a number of people with disabilities. I went to school for disability studies, and I have a formal education in disability studies. Also, I have spent a lot of time on message boards for people with disabilities, and I have learned a tremendous amount about the experience of other people. But even with all this experience, I'm still only one person. And stuff I say is just my opinion. I may be right, I may be wrong. If there's one thing I've learned through all my experience with disability, is that people with disabilities are a very diverse group of syndrome. And with all this diversity, there's going to be a diversity of opinions. I'll give you some examples of the diversity within the disability community. The big one is, what do you call someone with a disability? Do you use a person with a disability? Or do you use disabled person? Or do you use a handicapped person? Or do you say differently able? Or do you use special needs? All of these terms have been used to describe people with disabilities. It can be really confusing for someone not familiar with the disability community. So, what is the right answer? If you follow other disabilities channels, or if you listen to the disability experts, they'll probably tell you that you should always use people's first language and use the phrase person with a disability. When I was younger, back when I was young and dumb, I used to be a language police officer. I used to correct people that didn't use people's first language. But that was before I started listening to other people's stories. When I started listening to other people, I discovered that not all people with disabilities like to become people with disabilities. Some don't even like the term disability at all. Some like the term differently abled. And according to the experts, that's the offensive term. Me, I hate the term differently able because it's just not true. I have a disability. There are stuff I can't do, and nothing's going to change it. So calling it differently able is just lying. But there are some people who prefer differently abled over people with disabilities. In addition, I knew a person who actually preferred to be called handicapped over a person with a disability. So who's right? What is the correct answer? I have thought a lot about this question, and the answer I've come up with is that there really isn't a right answer. There's only other people's opinion. In my opinion, you should always use the language that the person with the disability how opinions differ in the disability community. Should you ask a person with a disability about their disability? This is actually a very controversial question within the disability community. There are passionate arguments on both sides of the issue. There are some people that say yes, you should ask people with disabilities about their disability. They usually say they would rather have you ask and be educated than not to know. Pretty good argument, I think. But then you have another group of people that say, no, you should never ask someone with a disability about their disability. They argue that people with disabilities deserve the right to privacy, just like everyone else. And if you wouldn't ask someone without a disability about their health, then you shouldn't ask someone with a disability about their health. I don't know, but that seems logical to me. So which is it? What is right? Again, in my opinion, there really isn't a right answer. I think the best answer is to spend time with the person with the disability. Get to know them. If they seem open about sharing with their disability, then go ahead, ask them about their disability. If they seem like more of a private person, then you probably shouldn't ask them. If you're wanting to ask a stranger and you can't get to know them, then I would suggest asking your question very politely. But don't be surprised if they get offended, because not everyone likes sharing about their disability. Basically, you should never think of the disability community as one group of people. The disability community is a diverse group of people with many different opinions. There is no topic where there isn't at least some difference of opinion. If a person with a disability presents themselves as an expert on disabilities, just remember they are just one person, and they are just giving their opinion based on their experience. And remember that opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, and some stink. Bye.